anytime you cut leather off of a rein back or a bridle back, the leather actually, the strap is actually what we consider or called blocky or blocked, and it's very sharp. The edges are very sharp, and especially when it comes to a rein, you don't want that. So what we use is a tool called an edger, and there's a number of different types of edgers depending on how aggressive or how much you want to take off the edge of that strap, and depending on what that strap is doing. So in the case of this rein, this rein started off in this shape, and it looks rather thick. The integrity and the thickness of that strap stays the same, except for the edge, and that's so when you're playing or riding, and you need that to pull through your hands, it won't literally cut you or harm your hands in any way. So what I'm going to do is, this is a little more of an aggressive edger. This is a number 5, which is pretty aggressive. You use that on a rather thick strap. I use it on stirrup leathers because it allows the leather to actually feed through the hangers a little easier and around and through the irons themselves, and they don't cut your legs. And this, as you can tell, really takes the edge off the strap. So you could take the edge or the profile of this and comparing it to that, and you'll see that the roundness of that strap will make it easier to handle when you're riding and playing during the game, to allow that rein to have your hands slide up and down without it interfering with this edge. And if you have or if you're a person that has a very petite hand, you can either do one of two things: either have the edge taken off a little more to keep the width of the rein, or most people use a 3/4 inch rein. You can go down to a 5/8 rein, and if you have a Pelham bridle or even a Weymouth bridle, depending on how you want to set it up, if you want to keep one rein as 3/4 and the other one 5/8 to reduce the amount of leather that's in your hand, that little bit does go a long way. And it also gives you an idea of which rein you're pulling on, whether you need the curb or your primary. So when it comes to reins, the reins are really the only thing that you can judge the rest of the bridle by. So in that case, I'm very picky on what leather I use for the reins, how I prepare the reins, and how the reins are fit. When I make a pair of reins for polo, I make it 4 feet even, where the standard is 4.5. But a lot of those companies that make reins at 4.5 are making them for other disciplines. So when you're playing polo and you're more or less reining the horse, your hands are so far down towards the horse's mouth, you have all of that extra rein to shorten it. I've shortened them up for quite a bit of customers, so this way they're not hanging down off to the side, getting hooked on other players' mallets or their feet or things of that nature, and it avoids them having to knot the reins themselves, which brings on a whole other set of issues. So, and I've shortened them even more than the 4 feet. I've shortened them closer to 3.5 for clients that knew they wanted them shortened at that length. So depending on your style of play, depending on the size of your horse, and depending on the physical makeup of your hands, depends on the type of rein or the width of the rein, the length of the rein, and the edge that most people will use.